Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and we have a wild update and rumor on the Fantastic Four. Well, this rumor seems like it's pretty far-fetched, but one of those things that has fans talking, and quite honestly, could be nearly perfect. Now, as many of you know, Jon Watts was set to direct the Fantastic Four. He directed those last 3 Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland and has generally worked very well with Marvel Studios. Now, recently he stepped away from the Fantastic Four project, citing he kinda needed a break from that tedious schedule developing these superhero properties. But we do know Sony and Marvel both want him back to do another trilogy with Spider-Man, so I don't think we've seen the last of him. Now, this rumor does seem pretty far-fetched if I'm being quite honest, so before we dive into it, take it with a grain of salt because we haven't gotten confirmation. Just like anything that hasn't been confirmed by Marvel Studios or Kevin Feige himself, we're going to treat it as a rumor, and I recommend you do also. Now, the rumor that is going around right now is that the legendary Steven Spielberg is currently being courted by Marvel Studios to take over the Fantastic Four reboot. There are even some versions of this story that indicate that the legendary filmmaker has already agreed to board the project. Now, out of the gate, this seems like something that could be fabricated internet nonsense. And, quite honestly, I understand why you're taking it that way. But it should be noted that several reliable and several semi-reliable scoopers have alluded to a massive story associated with the Fantastic Four and the reason Jon Watts left. Additionally, we've heard multiple stories that Kevin Feige has spoken to Spielberg about directing future MCU projects, so this could quite honestly be in the works for a really long time. Once again, this hasn't confirmed, and it doesn't actually mean that Spielberg has agreed to helm the Fantastic Four, or even that any of the reports hold any water at all. But it's certainly worth keeping an eye on, and Marvel has picked up some pretty big-name directors in recent years. Remember, they managed to nab Sam Raimi with very short notice after Scott Derrickson parted ways over Doctor Strange, so getting Spielberg on a project like this would be pretty interesting. Additionally, it would explain why Jon Watts stepped away. If the legendary Spielberg wanted to direct the movie, Watts may have bowed out to allow that to happen. More than likely, Watts probably looks up to Spielberg. Generationally speaking, Spielberg is from my childhood and has made movies all the way up until now, and I'm sure Watts felt the same way. Now, we know very little about Kevin Feige's plans for the first family in the MCU. We did see John Krasinski appear as Reed Richards in Doctor Strange, but it hasn't been confirmed if he'll play the character in the main Marvel Cinematic Universe. It does seem likely, but it's not confirmed, and they may go with a different version of Reed Richards with the intention of doing the Council of Reed sometime down the road. Now, we do know Moon Knight producers Curtis Grant and Nick Pepin are working on the reboot, but beyond that, there's very little details. If Marvel did pick up the legendary Steven Spielberg to direct this movie, that would be pretty amazing, but I find the possibilities sort of mixed. Honestly, I would be sort of surprised if Spielberg signed on to such an established IP and worked within the confines that Marvel Studios dictates. But on the other hand, I really can't think of a superhero project that his style of directing is better aligned for than the Fantastic Four. A Steven Spielberg directed Fantastic Four movie would likely be a massive hit and get a ton of buzz, so I totally see the advantages of doing this, but I'm a little bit cautious on the rumor. Now, pretty clearly we're going to follow everything Fantastic Four moving down the road, especially the possibilities of Spielberg directing the film. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, don't miss any of the updates, and stay tuned, because I'm really hoping this news gets confirmed or debunked sometime soon. But until we know more, what do you guys think? How would you feel about Steven Spielberg directing Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four? Or do you think this rumor is total bunk and is just something to generate a little bit of internet buzz? Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you're not getting any updates. Peace.